Hey guys, it's Leesh, and welcome to another episode of Car Confessions. Guys, yesterday was crazy, which was Wednesday. I didn't get a chance to record because there was just so many things going on, but better late than never. It feels like the past few weeks has been like all over the place. I'm just like rushing or like, oh my gosh, I didn't record. So just giving myself grace and knowing I'm doing the best that I can. You know what I'm saying? Because it's wild out here, y'all. It is raining cats and dogs. Do you hear me? It's crazy town here in New York. And it's even more frustrating because the building I live in, it is really old. It's like a pre-war building. And so, depending on, the upkeep of your building, let's be serious, um, there could be like a water damage that takes place. And so, like, we had some stuff happening in the house last night, and it was just like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, just dealing with those things. I mean, luckily, I'm a renter, so it's really not, something that's going to come out of my pocket where I have to pay for anything. So, I mean, thank God for things like that. I try to see the bright side of all this stuff, but it's just like, oh my God, it's like one thing after the other, guys. Like, okay. Like, seriously. And, I think as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, we tend to forget that, like, people in our lives and people we deal with, or just people in general, have shit going on in their lives beyond the day to day, whatever is going on, beyond, you know, anything really. I mean, we're all dealing with something, right? And that's where I'm trying to find more grace, like with myself, with people, everything, because I know we all have shit going on in our lives. And so it's just really being mindful of that and understanding that we're all just one way or the other, just trying to do the best that we can. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it has been, back to the rain, it has been raining since yesterday. And for me, like, I never really got crazy about rain, before. Like, oh my God, I hate this raining. Um, But now that I have all these issues with my apartment, I'm always like, oh my God, what's going to fall apart this time? Um, it's obvious that the outer structure of our building needs to be fixed because I'm like, what the hell? Um, but yeah, the rain is just, but some people love rain. Some people think that rain brings like good luck and good fortune and washes away like negative and toxic energy, whatever, new start to things. And so for that, maybe that's what's happening too. I just would love a new start in my apartment. Like no more shit falling off the damn ceiling, please and thank you. And I know what some people are probably thinking too is like, why are you still in New York, right? Why are you still living there? You could easily be somewhere else and find like a really nice house or whatever that looks like. And listen, trust me, I have thought about all these things. I've thought about leaving New York, and considered like moving somewhere where there isn't as much congestion and price gouging and things falling apart every time you turn around in your house or whatever. I thought about all those things. And when I think about that, I think about this like reel that I saw on, I think it was TikTok. And this guy is basically saying the same thing. He's like, people say to me all the time, like, why are you still in, New York? Why are you still living there? Because he'll let them know, like, how much he's paying in rent. And once people find out, they're like, oh my gosh, you could be living, on a lake in Ohio or whatever that looks like. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to. Like, I love this. I love all this craziness. I love, that over there. And he's pointing to some trash. Like, New York is that place. Like, it is rough around the edges. It's no frills. Um, if you have tons of money, and I mean tons of money, you can be afforded to live in places that are very posh. But even at the end of the day, when it comes to these posh places, New York is an old city, and a lot of the buildings are old. And so the upkeep, regardless of where you live, um, you're going to come across some stuff because that's just New York. It's just how it is, and you just kind of have to roll with it. It's not fun, it's not easy, but it is what it is, and as crazy as it is, I love it. So yeah, so it's like, could I trade in this and that to have a more cush life? Yeah, I totally could do that. But then it's like, am I really living the life that I want to live? It's those types of questions that I have to ask myself. But then I'm also on the flip side, like, oh my gosh, like, am I torturing myself? Like, is this self-sabotage? I don't know. Guys. I don't know. But I love New York City, and I've talked about that several times. I love the city. Um, it can be a really scary place. It can be a challenging place. But it has allowed me to see so many things in this life. It's allowed me to see different perspectives of how people think and feel and live, and why they do what they do, cultures that are completely different than what I grew up around, people. So for that, it's hard to just let go of this city for me. Very hard. Because I don't like being in places where there's not diversity, where there's not multicultural, there's not a multicultural presence. Uh, I'm just not a cookie cutter person. I've never been. Like, even growing up, I was just that kid that kind of went against the grain. Like, I just didn't, I was beating to my own drum. And I mean, not being like a rebel rouser or anything. I mean, I would raise awareness as, when I saw injustice, and I still do, as y'all know. That's always been in me. I don't, that will be something that will never die. That's something I grew up with. I grew up with a mother who believed in standing up for what was right and fighting for the greater good of humanity, even if it's not popular, right? So that's always been me. I've always been that person who just didn't conform to whatever narrative society put out there, which growing up was kind of hard because I was that kid, particularly I was that black kid, right, that listened to country music, that listened to folk music, Americana, rock, like, I mean, you name it, that was me. I was listening to all those things. And people would look at me, regardless of their race, and just be like, you like this music? And it's just like, yeah, like, it's music. I didn't know that we were out here, really determining black and white music. And then, once you are exposed to more information as it relates to music, because my mother was really good about just allowing me to just be me. When it came to those things, like the music that I loved, my friends, she just kind of allowed me to kind of guide in that way. Other things, obviously, not that wasn't the case, but when it came to this part of me, like, kind of like my core essence, like beyond anything as it relates to like my sexuality or things like that, because my mom she had a really hard time with that, like dealing with me being a gay person. But that's for a whole other conversation, right? But when it came to just my core of like what I really enjoyed, how I, viewed things in everyday life, and wanted to express myself as it related to musical interests and theater and all that, she definitely supported those things. And so all that to say, when it came around to really like looking at music in a racial standpoint, I didn't understand it because it's just like, it's music, guys. Like, okay, is this a white face singing it? Yeah, but I still like the song. Is that a black face singing it? Is that a brown face? Is that like whatever? Like, it's a person that, has created music or art that I'm interested in, and I want more of it, and I want to be a part of that experience. What the hell? And so for that, I'm grateful that I was able to be exposed and still stand my ground and not conform because I was going to be an outsider. Um, and now to see how music is transforming and people are expanding their minds around what genres look like, what music is to the individual, it's refreshing. Like, it's so amazing to now experience music in this way and for people to truly feel like they can just enjoy what they enjoy and not be ostracized or made fun of or picked on or whatever that looks like. Because trust me, I got my fair share of that. People, oh, you think you're a white girl, or something to that degree. And it was like, no, I'm just Leesh that likes music. Done. Um, but I will say, my sense of being open and free as it relates to, let's say, the music piece of my music interest. Am I saying that right? It's early out. But as it related to those things, I found myself being being someone other people looked up to, and people have shared this with me, later in life. Like, oh my gosh, I thank you so much for just standing your ground and just saying, hey, this is who I am, this is what I like, and take it or leave it, right? Like, not trying to fit in with other people because you just don't want to be that odd person out. Thank you for just being yourself. And a lot of times you don't think that's a big deal until you hear it and you realize how many people aren't being themselves and are conforming to whatever narratives that are being pushed on them by way of our society, any propaganda, any religious beliefs, family beliefs and traditions. And it's wild. And listen, no judgment for people who do that, because I completely understand it. I get where you're coming from. I see where that can be really crippling, and there can be a barrier with you wanting to go beyond uh, what you've been taught. But at the same time, it's like, it's what point are you going to be yourself? Like, I can't imagine, this is Leesh saying this, but I can't imagine myself not being me. My quirky, offbeat, crazy self. Like, I can't imagine not being me. Uh, and to say I haven't conformed and all that, no, I've done that. But at this point in my life, truly walking in who I am and understanding who I am and learning who I am each and every day, walking in that authentic way, I can't go back. I can't go back to trying to fit in with people or whatever that looks like. It's too much for me. It's too stressful. And who is it serving? Like, even the people that you're around. Because honestly, if these people are really meant for you, right? Friends, family, whatever. If you show them the real you, they should be on board with accepting you for you, right? And not wanting you to, quote unquote, make them comfortable because they expect you to do X, Y, and Z. Um, I want us all just to be as authentic as we possibly can be ourselves. And like I said, it's hard because you might lose people that you've been really close to for so many years. It might be a whole thing. Um, but it's a challenge, I feel like, for many of us to just really dig into that and say, you know what, this is me. This is how I operate. This is what I like. This is what I like to do. This is how I like to crochet. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keeping it real. Literally keeping it real. Like, think about that. Like, how often are you truly keeping it real with yourself and those around you? For me, that's what I'm constantly thinking about. Am I being myself? Is this what I want to do? Um, can I go back and say no? And that, I can, and I'll go back and say, hey, I thought about it, and actually, I'm gonna have to bow out of this one, guys. See you on the flip side. Like whatever that looks like for you. The overextending ourselves, the um, pouring from an empty cup type of scenario, we have to start letting that kind of stuff go. And being a work in progress people pleaser, it is so foreign to walk in this way and to truly feel like, okay, that was a good decision. And regardless of how another person reacts, I feel good about this decision. Being in that space, it is work, and it is something to practice. Um, Practice not um, feeling shame. Practice not, and practice knowing that what works for you is necessary. And knowing that there are times when you need to just regroup and kind of get yourself together. I was never that person. I'm telling you, before my um, revelation of me being a people pleaser and figuring out that, oh, I come from a place of codependency. I am always feeling like I need to help somebody. I need to fix a situation, or whatever. Once before me realizing any of that, and I was still spiraling in that way, I was exhausted, y'all. Like, I was exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole nine. Because I was trying to do things for people in the way that I would want them to be done. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that would present in a way where I was falling short, because more times than not, that's not what they wanted. That's not what they needed. But I'm thinking, oh, let me be the fixer. And based off my fixing skills and whatever else, I will do X, Y, and Z. And then find out, like I said, that person not only didn't want that, but it was not even necessary, right? Like, not necessary. And I'm just out here looking, ridiculous and pissed off because I went that route. And I did this for years. I mean, years. And yes, were there some people who were, giving me what I thought was my badge of honor, saying, oh, you're such a loyal friend, and oh, you'll do this for anybody, and you'll, Leesh will go the extra mile. Yes, I was that friend. And yes, I found purpose in it. So much so that I didn't realize I wasn't truly honing in on things that were really passionate to me, like my career and things of that nature. And so I was so worried about other people that I didn't even worry about me and what I needed and what I wanted. And so it was hard. It was hard to come to terms with the fact that I was codependent and I was a people pleaser. Um, And at the same time, it was hard for me to figure out how to start deconstructing that, because when you've gone 30 plus years doing something like that, it's really, really hard, trying to unravel that and unlearn and, uh, bring on a new way of living and thinking and feeling about how you approach, people and, creating boundaries and whatever that looks like for you, um, or for me rather, I should say. So yeah, like it's been wild. It's been a wild journey. I mean, and now at 46, I'm finding myself so much more content with, just being, just being me, showing up as my authentic self, not trying to do anything extra. Uh, and I'm not saying that in a way of like, I'm not going to do shit for anybody, right? Like, fuck you, I'm done. No, that's not it at all. But it's more so I'm coming in as my authentic self. If, you know, I'm not in the space to provide additional whatever, I have to be open and upfront with that person about that situation, that circumstance. And whatever that looks like, right? I can't control what the other person is going to say or think or feel. I'm not that person, right? So it's that too, understanding that regardless of what the person is going to, how they're going to react, I can't be responsible for that. And I think for so many years I was trying to control that. I'm trying to control how the person would respond. So I would do things, right? I would prep myself. I had all my scenarios in a row, right? You know, I'm going to do this and this because knowing this person, if I do this, this will be the thing that'll like kind of like smooth over the situation or whatever that may be, you know? Um, and that was exhausting too. Like just trying to figure out how's this person going to react? What should I do here? You know, and if this, you know, blows up in my face, what's the next step? Okay, I'll do this. Like, so just, you're constantly creating these calculations in your head. And I'm not someone who's good at math anyway. So, I mean, that's a whole other story. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there trying to like gauge all the things. Um, and it was so time consuming. It was so exhausting. And I was just like, no more, no more. Like, I don't need to be doing this shit. And as I've been learning and growing in this whole world of unlearning all the things, I realized and was told and was educated on people like myself who are people pleasers and who, you know, live in codependent spaces a lot of times have been um, a person or a victim of trauma. And knowing that, it's like, wow, yep, that sounds about right. That makes sense because I've had a lot of traumatic things happen in my life as a child, as an adult. So it only makes sense to me. It's like, oh, yes, okay. This is definitely ringing true in my life. Um, that me trying to overextend myself and me trying to do all these things is to um, kind of like guide some additional, or not guide, but provide rather some additional protections around me. And then also let people know that I'm good enough, right? Because I'm doing this and I'm doing that. See, I'm good, right? It's a lot. And once I realized, regardless of me doing things for people, I'm still good. Yo, completely changed the game in my life and in my mind. Um, because for the longest, it was all about doing. The more that I did for people, you know, the more they would see me, right? And they weren't seeing me, like truly me, because I was doing all this people pleasing and trying to kind of like keep this mask on so, you know, I wouldn't truly be myself. Because if I was truly myself, right, is that person that with the mask off, if we take the mask off, that person behind the mask, are they worthy? Like, are they truly worthy of these people? I don't know. Let me keep the mask on and let me just keep doing all the things to show my worthiness. So I fit in, right? And I know, initially I was saying, you know, I would go against the grain on certain things, and I would when it came to like music and stuff like that. But truly wanting acceptance, that's where it always kind of like fell apart for me. Like I said, I'm working on being better and better at that at this point in my life. It's not easy. Let me tell you, it is not easy. Because when you've been used to doing shit for so long, it's so much easier to revert back to that because that's all you know. And, you know, I don't even know if I told y'all, but I am back in therapy, which has been great. It's been good. And I've really appreciated this, you know, opportunity and experience this time around. Um, and I was talking to my therapist yesterday, just about life in general and just, stuff as it relates to my sense of like, feeling worthy and all the things. And I'm trying to think, what was I had a point here, guys. That's another thing. This brain of mine, it goes in and out. God bless. I hate when that happens. But yeah, so anyway, I was talking with her and I was sharing that, I feel like I'm, trying to unlearn these things, right? As it relates to living in chaos, right? I don't know if you grew up with chaotic, or if you grew up in a chaotic environment. I did. And no blame or judgment on the people that I grew up around. It was what it was. Like, keep it real. And so growing up in chaos and in dysfunction is wild, to say the least. And but then knowing that you don't, okay, here, let me start again. Growing up in chaos and all that, it's wild, right? But when you're trying to change that narrative, y'all, I didn't realize how hard it was to refrain from chaos. I don't want to live in chaos. Like, I do my best to not live in chaos. But when I get around the people that I grew up in chaos around, is that right? When I'm around them, or we're talking or whatever, it's like I'm sucked back in by default. And I don't know if they even realize that too. I don't know. But all that to say, we're working hard. I think all of us as people are working hard. My family, everyone, working hard to get out of those situations. I hope everyone is. I could be wrong. I know I am. I'll just say Leesh. But I find myself looking for it, like looking for that chaos, looking for some type of drama. And I'm like, Leesh, what the hell? Aren't we working to go against the grain as it relates to that? Like, we don't want to be in that environment anymore. And so all that to say, my therapist was just like, basically like, have some grace for yourself. Like, because I was basically like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I would even want to go back there knowing that this is something I'm trying to get rid of. She's like, but how long did you live in that? And I was like, oh yeah. She's like, yeah, have some grace for yourself, because you can't just go from, 1,000 to 0 and think that, oh, yeah, it's all fixed, got it all together and done, right? Like, that's just not how it goes, right? There are levels to this, and it's a journey. And sometimes it is, oh, there goes my neck, child. Sometimes it is something that just comes together and you got it. And then sometimes you are seriously just trying to make it, day to day. I'm at work, y'all. I'm trying to figure this out here to make sure the kids aren't hitting me, or vice versa. I'm not hitting the kids, rather. But yeah, it's just like really trying to know that some days are good, some days are going to be a hot mess when it comes to this whole reconstructing my thoughts and feelings around chaos and everything. So I'm doing the best that I can. That's basically the gist of this whole car confessions. God bless. I'm literally doing the best that I can. And I'm doing the best I can to be as authentic as I can be as Alicia. That's it. Literally, that's what I'm trying to do each and every day. Just do the best that I can to be my authentic self, and to give myself grace and those around me grace, and at the same time provide myself the proper boundaries and time and space to heal and rejuvenate, so I can come back out in the world and be my best self. It's wild, y'all. This was a long car confessions. One, because I was stuck in traffic. The rain really did it for me today. But hey, here we are. And I think it was necessary. It was good to kind of get all this out and talk to y'all because I haven't done this in a while. So it was good. It's good, good, good. All right, y'all, I'm at work. I made it. Praise the Lordy real. And we'll see if next week I actually post it at the right time. All right, guys. Love you. And like I always say, keep on keeping on. I love you.